Listen carefully, because what I'm about to explain is the difference between staying stuck with a small account and actually growing it into something meaningful. Most traders believe the problem is capital. They think, if I just had more money, I would make more profit. They think the account size is the limitation, but that's not the truth. The truth is this: if you cannot grow a small account, you will not grow a big one. Because the same psychology that keeps you stuck at $100 is the same psychology that will destroy $10,000. So this is not about money. This is about mindset. This is about the psychology that makes you profitable from a small account. Let's start with the first principle. Small accounts expose impatience. When your account is small, every profit feels insignificant. You make $2, $5, maybe $10, and your mind immediately says, that's too small. So what do? You increase your lot size. You take more trades. You chase bigger moves because you want faster results. And that is exactly how small accounts get blown. Because impatience leads to overexposure, and overexposure leads to emotional decisions. The problem is not the account size. The problem is your expectation. You are expecting a small account to behave like a large one, and that mismatch creates frustration. Now, understand this clearly. A small account is not meant to make you rich. It is meant to make you disciplined. If you treat it like a tool for growth, it will grow. If you treat it like a shortcut to money, it will disappear. The second principle is respect for capital. Most traders do not respect small accounts. They take careless trades. They risk too much. They experiment without structure, because in their mind, it's just a small account. But this mindset is dangerous, because how you treat small money is how you will treat big money. Discipline does not suddenly appear when your account grows. It is built from the beginning. So if you are reckless with $100, you will be reckless with $10,000. The amount changes, the behavior does not. The third principle is risk management. This is where most small accounts fail. Traders risk too much per trade. They want to grow fast, so they risk 10%, 20%, even 50% of their account. And yes, sometimes it works, but eventually it doesn't, because one loss can wipe out everything. And when that happens, frustration takes over. Then comes revenge trading, and the account is gone. Now, compare that to a disciplined approach, risking 1%, maybe 2% per trade. It feels slow, it feels insignificant, but it keeps you in the game. And staying in the game is everything, because consistency requires time, and time requires survival. The fourth principle is emotional detachment from money. This is difficult, especially with small accounts, because every dollar feels important. You feel every loss, you feel every gain, but this emotional attachment creates pressure, and pressure leads to mistakes. So you must shift your focus. Stop thinking in money, start thinking in percentages and execution. Because percentages scale, money is just a byproduct. When you focus on money, you become reactive. When you focus on process, you become consistent. The fifth principle is patience. Small accounts grow slowly. There is no way around this. But most traders cannot accept that. They want fast results. They want quick wins. And that desire leads to poor decisions because they force trades. They enter setups that are not clear. They trade out of boredom. And all of this reduces their edge. Patience is not just waiting. It is waiting with discipline. Waiting without forcing action. Waiting until your setup is clear and aligned. This is what separates professionals from amateurs. Now, let's talk about the mindset shift that changes everything. At some point, you must stop trying to make money and start trying to execute correctly. Because money is inconsistent, execution can be consistent. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control behavior, and behavior is what leads to results over time. This is where most traders fail. They measure success by profit, but profit is not always a good indicator. You can make money while trading badly, and you can lose money while trading correctly. So, if you focus only on profit, you will reinforce bad habits. Instead, measure success by discipline. Did you follow your plan? Did you manage risk correctly? Did you stay consistent? If the answer is yes, you are improving, even if the trade was a loss. Now, let's address the biggest psychological trap: comparison. You see other traders making large profits, you see screenshots, you see fast growth, and you feel behind. So you try to catch up. You increase your risk, you change your strategy, you abandon your plan, and this leads to inconsistency. But here's the reality: most of what you see is not sustainable. And even if it is, it doesn't matter, because your journey is different. Your focus should be on your own process, not someone else's results. Now, let's go deeper. There is a concept that separates successful traders from struggling ones: delayed gratification. This is the ability to sacrifice short-term excitement for long-term results. With a small account, this is critical because the temptation to rush is always there. But if you can delay that urge, if you can stay disciplined, you build something much more valuable than quick profit. You build consistency. And consistency compounds. Now, think about this. If you grow your account by just 2% consistently, over time it becomes significant. But that requires discipline. That requires patience. That requires control. And most traders don't have that because they are focused on speed, not sustainability. Now, let's talk about identity. How you see yourself as a trader matters. If you see yourself as someone trying to get lucky, you will act impulsively. If you see yourself as a professional, you will act with discipline. So ask yourself, what kind of trader are you becoming? Because your identity shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your results. Now, here's something important. Mistakes will happen. You will break your rules. You will take bad trades. That is part of the process. But what matters is how you respond. Do you ignore it, or do you learn from it? Because growth comes from awareness, and awareness comes from reflection. That's why journaling is powerful. Not just recording trades, but recording thoughts, emotions, decisions. Because when you understand your patterns, you can change them. Now, let's bring everything together. The psychology that makes you profitable from a small account is not complicated, but it is difficult. It requires patience when you want speed, discipline when you feel emotional, control when you feel pressure. It requires you to act against your impulses, because your natural instincts in trading are often wrong. You want to hold losers and cut winners. You want to act when you should wait. You want to risk more when you're losing. And all of these instincts must be controlled. Now, here's the final truth. A small account is not a limitation. It is an opportunity. An opportunity to build habits without large consequences. An opportunity to develop discipline. An opportunity to refine your process. If you master your psychology on a small account, scaling becomes easy, because the hard part is not making money. The hard part is managing yourself. So, the next time you look at your account and feel frustrated, remember this. The goal is not to grow it fast. The goal is to grow it correctly. Because fast growth without discipline leads to collapse. But slow growth with discipline leads to sustainability. and sustainability is what truly creates success in trading. So focus on your process, control your emotions, respect your capital, and most importantly, be patient. Because the psychology that makes you profitable from a small account is the same psychology that will make you successful long term. And that is what truly matters.